Hello, all the attentive listeners of All India Radio TEZU. Today, we, the reader activists of the Bamboosa Library, TEZU, Rowing Library, Dibang Youth Library, and all the team of Joy of Reading, are here for the YUVA VANI program. 8th of March, celebrated as the International Women's Day to mark the contribution of women to society across the globe. We today are here after reaching every edge with a humble and a strong motive to spread the joy of reading with inspirational story of the integral part of existing world, women. First up, we have a beautiful poem recitation by Basaili Amma with a sweet title, Neeli Chiriya, contributed by Chakmak.
नीली चिड़िया नीले आसमान से उतरी नीली एक निराली चिड़िया गाती उड़ने वाली चिड़िया उड़ती गाने वाली चिड़िया इस फुंगी से उस फुंगी पर उड़कर जाने वाली चिड़िया इन पत्तों में उन पत्तों में छिपकर गाने वाली चिड़िया पर फरका कर नीचे आकर दाना खाने वाली चिड़िया दाना खाकर पर फरका कर झट उड़ जाने वाली चिड़िया इन डाली से उस डाली पर उड़ जाने वाली चिड़िया लाख बुलाऊं लेकिन मेरे पास ना आने वाली चिड़िया नीले आसमान से उतरी नीली एक निराली चिड़िया गाती उड़ने वाली चिड़िया उड़ती गाने वाली चिड़िया.
Coming up with the inspirational life story of Miss Kiran Mazumdar, we have Miss Aloka Linggi, Standard 11 from Anaya Public School.
Women will make a difference to the future of India. Kiran Mazumdar Show, CMD, Biocon Limited. A pioneer in the industry, Mrs. Kiran Mazumdar Show is the founder of the country's leading biotechnology enterprise, Biocon. Research, innovation, and affordable healthcare have been the core principle that have contributed to her incredible journey in the area of biotechnology. Regarded as one of the most influential women in the world, she has received a host of national and international awards, including two of India's highest honors, the Padma Shri in 1989 and the Padma Bhushan in 2005. She describes her journey not so easy. She talks about many gender barriers she had to break when she started as an entrepreneur. When she returned to India with a Master Brewer's degree from Australia, she was all set up to take up the exciting job of leading a brewery in India. She was in for a huge shock when she discovered that existing breweries in India were ready to hire her as a consultant, but not as a brewmaster because it was considered a man's job. Luckily, her chance encounter with Leslie Auchincloss, founder of Irish company Biocon Biochemicals, led her to start her own company. In those days, she encountered many hurdles, but she was driven by her passion to pursue the road less taken and make a difference. Since starting her biopharma journey in 2000, it has taken Biocon a little over a decade to emerge as the top 3 suppliers of insulin in the world. She talks of her late father as a role model who had provided her with encouragement all throughout her journey. There's been a sea change in the entrepreneurial debut. She firmly believes that knowledge makes no distinction to gender. She says that she is proud to be a woman and strongly believes that the world belongs to those who want to make a difference. The empowerment of the Indian woman will unleash Shakti, or feminine creative power, in the country and lead to transformational societal change in India in the coming days. Thank you.
Next is a poem recitation by Sosi Dalang from Chakmak.
सर्दी आई सर्दी आई सर्दी आई सर्दी आई अपने संग झंझट ले आई रोज सुबह हम ना उठ पाते कंबल में सिकुड़े रह जाते आवाज़ न माँ की हम सुन पाते नहाने के लिए देर हो जाती दौरे दौरे स्कूल जाते टीचर से भी डांट है खाते सर्दी जाओ अपने पीछे गर्मी लाओ. Thank you.
Next is a story in Mishmi by Nanet Sikri.
To ken yung mit sug mo tsu yu maning. Tsu amang wan panay shaw vi la haman ka. Kitab amang wan Mishmi Folktales of Lohit Valley. Tat time yu so me rangway panay ruway shaw mo la kam. Pang way wi chen nyanya pang hit dan la kam rat. Wara ngit mora vi kanan hai man rat. Wara chong ko mo hula. Chong ko mo vi to ka. Wara chong ko mo wan vi hai tit na ka thum la. Wan mara ru wan do la awa ko mo vi. Nyo thong cha ke chong ni to ke wan ja wan thum la wo shan wo. wara awawan thek lo wi thong ka chong wa thum ka le nai wara haiwang hu na ne ka phanei wi dola nyo ka chong to chi ka wa thum ka le nai wara phanei wan wi lai mtin wara nglang mi bat na ya nglang nyo thai hai thong cha chong thum la wo shan wo wara nglang ma thena ka lo wara nglang ma hai thong ka da chong mu thum ne sin tha mo wi wan wa hai thong ya chang tai chong wan maim to jaim to mun dong ka chang tham to wara sha chau si su thong gra to wara wi chong mu thum ne san tha mo chau ka phani khai thena ka lo chau ka phani do ka chong ka mu thum nei wara phani wi chung mangin ning ka chong wa thum ka le la ka wi tlu kan to ne ka ngi to rat wara phani wan dula shau mu thum mang an ke an chau mo la ka nung ka to ke da yu an la shan kam kamang chong lam thum shan nam sam ke chwat la ka nung ra wara thong tu ju ne de ne ka do ka wara phani wan sang tu ha wa ne ka thong la yu chak wat ka ma ai win wa ham hanglat ko maim to jaim to an la re shan kam ne ma ka do ne ka wi pu chu ka ya wan ma ra ru kla hu ne ka chu ya la ma le ka wi shau mu tun ma pui la wi ka la lo mun chau ka wan ma ra ru shau mo chong to nya yu shau mo ne la ka nung klong chong to san pui la ka to mun le ka phani wai la ma kha tha mun chau ka chong shin shau mo ne shin kre shau mo ne wi cham man mu to ne ka pyong byok man.
Now, please welcome Kishalu for a talk about the book I Too Had a Dream.
Hello listeners, most of you have heard about the milkman of India. Let me tell you about that person. I believe that my ambitions are best satisfied when I'm able to fulfill the ambition of those who pay my salary. These are the farmers. Originally, later on the farmers of Gujarat, they had paid my salary. And as long as I'm able to satisfy their desires, their wants, I get happiness. India is today held there's a lot of producers of milk in the world, contributing to 6% of the country's GDP. And this was only made possible because the vision, drive, and determination of one man, Verghese Kurian, a true legend in his lifetime career, passed a bill in the 9th of September at the age of 19. He is most fondly remembered to building a cooperative movement that transferred the lives of farmers for taking politicians' head and on in order to make India self-reliant in milk production and for bringing the country some of its most utterly but butterly delicious campaigns. Dr. Kurian was not really man. He was a phenomenon. He was a true visionary. His way of training people was really to give the people the opportunity to make mistakes and grow. He was a man of the vision. He knew what his purpose was in his life and stood by steadfast, firstly supporting in milk. The milk flat, the white flat as they called it, was all due to hard diligence, and the other thing he taught was, how do you people get to operate India? He taught that there is a need to respect the farmer. In fact, he would always used to say, the farmer must be brought in first. Once in a campaign, Kurian said, it's the only time he ever turned around and given up on Indian. He said, this is the multinational sort of a campaign does not capture any Indian thoughts. And thereafter, he came with Amul Taste of India, which perhaps was his favorite campaign ever. So, in spite of this quite dramatic character, the light of the life saw the change of the face in the country in so many ways. As he celebrates his 90th birthday, Dr. Verghese Kurian, the man behind India's White Revolution, has much to be proud of. Every day, at the crack of dawn, more than 10 million farmers of Gujarat begin their milk road, the journey that has given them the life economic independence. It wasn't always like this. In 1946, troubled by the monopoly of a private milk producing firm, Paulson, and the constantly changing prices, farmers of the Khera district in Gujarat began a cooperative movement. It meant they would collect the entire milk produce of a village and sell it at a constant price. Kurian and his team was able to come up with their own formula of condensed milk. It gave us the product called Mithai made to all of this. Kurian had one silent supporter, wife Molly Kurian. In 1964, the then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri visited Anand. Impressed by the model Amul, he asked Kurian to replicate the model of Crush India. Practical but adamant, Kurian replied. He could head a national project but on his condition. He will head it provided on to locate it in Anand, not in Delhi. If you would like to know more about the milkman of India, that is Dr. Varghese Kurian, then please come in our library and read it. Thank you.
Welcome Bithamlu Thalai to tell us about the book Mishmi Folk Tales.
I would like to tell you a very well-known and interesting book, Mishmi Folktale of Lohit Valley, published by a metal publication. This book was published in 2007 by Obang Taeng. There are 103 stories of the Kaman and Taura Mishmis who lived in Lohit district. It's the outcomes of 4 years of persistent research by the author. Most of the tales has been gathered from all parts of the big yet inaccessible region. To retain the originality of the stories, they have been presented in a simple and candid style by the author. If you want to know more about it, you can go to the nearby libraries and read the Mishmi Folktale of Lohit Valley. Thank you.
Next, I would welcome Ms. Jia Rigia to read out article on an inspiring woman, Dr. Sarojini Agrawal. Manisha Mandir, Glory of Motherhood, by Dr. Sarojini Agrawal. She believed and took it upon herself to care for, love, educate, and empower orphaned and unwanted girls. She has raised over 800 girls at her home in Lucknow and given them a future, preparing them for a self-sufficient life. After losing her young daughter in a tragic accident, she opened up her life to embrace all abundant daughters, loving them as her own. She created Manisha Mandir, the home for her hundreds of daughters. Agrawal, at the age of 80, continues to serve her daughter with a youthful and joyful energy. Her journey as the mother of 800 daughters is told in her own words. I was born in a big family of 4 brothers and 7 sisters. My father, a school principal, instilled in me the values of feelings for others and serving them. So, even from my childhood, I grew up with a keen desire to serve the needy. Though our resources were limited, I tried to be of help to the sick, the wounded, and the handicapped. This sensitivity also took the form of poems and writings. I remember one of my poems being published in the school magazine when I was studying in class 6. Golden lines of my life, do not slip away like lightning. Be ready to sacrifice self for others, so that you may be one with Almighty. Soon after graduation, I married and moved into my in-laws' house. I was able to convince my family to allow me to pursue my higher education. My peaceful life was tragically disturbed on 1st April 1978 when my 8-year-old daughter, Manisha, died in a hit-and-run accident. As I lay wounded in the hospital with the realization that I had lost my daughter forever slowly sinking in, I promised myself that I would not weep but instead see Manisha in helpless orphaned girls. I had lost one daughter, but would again have many more daughters. I saw this as God's plan. Accordingly, 6 years later, in 1984, with my daughter as my loving inspiration, I founded Manisha Mandir, a home for orphan, destitute, and abandoned girls. When I saw infant baby girls being abandoned by their mothers, I placed a cradle at the gate of Manisha Mandir. Soon, many baby girls were left there, and I personally nursed them. Women's are the pillar of the society. A woman is a daughter, a sister, a wife, and a mother. They can improve or degrade the society by the values they cherish and nourish in others. I'm proud that I have shaped strong pillars for our society. When asked, what would be your message to the women of India? I say, to know what her answer was. What was her message? Go to your nearest library and get the book, The Vedanta Kesari. Next, we have Okesi Tayang to tell a story from the magazine Nandan.
ऊंची नहीं फेंकता ऊंट। एक ऊंट था, उनकी पीठ कुछ ज़्यादा ही ऊंची थी। यही कारण था कि वह ऊंची ऊंची फेंकता। एक दिन वह टहलने निकला। नदी किनारे चूहे, गिलहरी, बंदर और खरगोश किसी बात पर हंस रहे थे। हा 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 हा। ऊंट भी जोर जोर से हंसने लगा। हा 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 हा। खरगोश ने पूछा, ऊंट भाई तुम क्यों हंसे? ऊंट बोला, तुम्हें देखकर हंस रहा हूँ, मेरे सामने तुम सब कुछ नहीं। चूहे ने पूछा, मतलब क्या है तुम्हारा? ऊंट गर्दन झटकते हुए बोला, मतलब यह है कि मेरा एक दिन का राशन पानी तुम सब के लिए महीने भर का होता है। जहाँ तक तुम देख सकते हो वहाँ तक तो मेरी गर्दन ही चली जाती है। मैं रेगिस्तान का जहाज हूँ, मैं वहाँ आसानी से दौड़ सकता हूँ बिना रुके और बिना थके। तुम वहाँ 4 कदम चलोगे तो हांफने लगोगे, समझे? यह सुनकर गिलहरी हंसने लगी, ही 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 ही। चूहा, खरगोश और बंदर भी हंस पड़े, ही 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 ही। उन पर पटकते हुए बोला, तुम क्यों हंसे? गिलहरी हंसते हुए बोली, हा 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 हा। उन भाई, माना कि तुम बहुत बड़े हो, लेकिन हर बड़ा हर तरह का छोटा सा काम भी कर सके यह जरूरी नहीं। ऊंट बोला, मैं बच्चों को मुंह लगाना ठीक नहीं समझता। बंदर भी हंसते हुए बोला, ऊंट भाई नाराज क्यों होते हो? ऊंट ने बंदर से कहा, यह सब पिद्दी भर के है, इनसे मैं क्या बात करूं? तुम सामने आओ, तुम ही बताओ कि ऐसा कौन सा काम है जो तुम कर सकते हो और मैं नहीं। हाँ, पेड़ पर चढ़ने के लिए मत कहना। गिलहरी उछलकर बंदर के कान के पास जा पहुंची। दूसरे ही पर बंदर दौड़कर कहीं चला गया। थोड़ी देर बाद वह पीठ पर एक तरबूज ला रहा था। उसने तरबूज ऊंट के सामने रख दिया। बंदर ऊंट से बोला, यह लो, तुम्हें मेरी तरह तरबूज को अपनी पीठ पर लटकर लाना है। उठाओ इसे और 20 कदम सही, जरा चढ़कर तो दिखाओ। ध्यान रहे कि तरबूज गिरना नहीं चाहिए। ऊंट बेचारा सपकता गया। भला वो पहाड़ जैसे तिकोना पीठ पर गोल मटोल तरबूज कैसा रख पाता? तरबूज को पीठ पर पकड़कर चढ़ना तो और भी मुश्किल काम था। ऊंट खिसियाता हुआ वहाँ से खिसक लिया। तभी से ऊंट अब ऊंची ऊंची नहीं फेंकता। थैंक यू।
Next, Miss Akolo Yalla will be telling us about a brave girl, Malavat Purna.
It's a small story about Malavat Purna, the girl who climbed a mountain. Malavat Purna, the girl who climbed a mountain. A 13-year-old Indian girl raised in poverty as a daughter of farm workers became the youngest girl to reach Mount Everest summit in 2014. Malavat Purna, who lives in a small travel village and learned to climb at her school, completed the dangerous Himalayan mountaineering journey on May 25, 2014 at the age of 13 years 11 months. A major challenge of expedition, she says, she was not the cold or discomfort but the packaged food they had to consume. I did not like its smell or taste, she explained. I wanted to go home and eat my mother's food. Perhaps the most terrifying experience on her ascent was passing the remains of those climbers who did not make it. I saw 6 dead bodies, she told reporters at press conference. I was shocked. Oh my God, I was paralyzed with fear, but I thought of my parents and I got my courage, strength and energy back, she said. Her school trained Purna and her several other students from her region for climb. She tells people that she would eventually like to become a law enforcement officer in homage to retired policemen who introduced her and other school children to mountaineering. When I finish my studies, I want to join the police because of him, she says. It will be my thank you to him for changing my life. Thank you.
Next, we'll be hearing from Miss Anaya Linggi about Asia's best athlete.
Hello listeners, today I'm going to share an inspirational incident about the queen of Indian track and field. Her name is Pilla Vulakandi Thekeparampil Usha. She is usually known as PT Usha. She was born in the year 1964 in January 27 at Kuthali, Kozhikode, Kerala. What makes her special? Her hard work and resilience. Usha did not take any shortcuts to success. She trained hard and made her way up to the top, despite her near miss at securing a medal in the Los Angeles Olympics. Usha bounced back and won a career-best 6 medals at the Jakarta Asian Championships. After marriage, return, and retirement, Usha took a brief break from athletics in 1991 after her marriage. In 1994, she took part in the Asian Games in Hiroshima, Japan, and managed to bag a silver medal. She was then chosen as a member of the 1600-meter relay in the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games, but did not compete. She turned to her place amongst the medals won last time in the Asian Championships of Fukuoka, Japan in 1998, when she won 1 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medals. When she won 1 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medals, Usha retired from international athletics in 2000. She is currently employed with the Southern Railways and runs a training academy for young athletes in Koilandi, Kerala. I'm going to share some of the awards and recognitions of PT Usha. Arjuna Award in 1984, Padma Shri 1984, Best Athlete in Asia Award 1984, 1985, 1986, 1987, and also in 1989. Greatest Women Athlete 1985, Jakarta Asian Athlete Meet. World Trophy for Best Athlete 1985 and 1986. Adidas Golden Shoe Award for the Best Athlete in 1986 at Seoul Asian Games. Thank you.
Next, Miss Besunlu Mepong will be telling us a story from the book Chinmaya Udghosh.
Don't we feel down and depressed sometime in life? Like now, when the final exams are on and we are not sure if we are doing our best, then we can remember the life of great men and women who remind us that we can leave footprint on the sands of time. Such a person was J.K. Rowling, creator of the Harry Potter books. J.K. Rowling, now a celebrity, was once a struggling single mother, jobless, penniless, with nothing going in her favor. But she never gave up. She wrote her unusual story of an awkward wizard who was empowered to take on evil. In spite of 12 publishing houses giving her a thumbs down, she kept at it and waited until Bloomsbury took a chance on her work. Her words created magic, and today publishing companies are lining up to sign a contract with her. Tinger, a dear friend of Winnie the Pooh, says, "Life is not how fast you run or how high you climb, but how well you bounce." There are many such real-life stories highlighting the importance of bouncing back when we are at our lowest. More such stories you can read in the delightful monthly for youth Chinmaya Udghosh at the Bamboosa Library. Thank you.
We conclude our YUVA VANI program with a song by Ankitso.
Nunu letantana papa letangyat ki kankis tsamang. Nunu letantana papa letangyat ki kankis tsamang. Nunu shokan the papa shoham tumman chupui lingming. Nunu shokan the papa shoham tumman chupui lingming. Nunu letantana papa letangyat ki kankis tsamang. Nunu shokan the papa shoham tumman chupui lingming. Nunu shokan the papa shoham tumman chupui lingming.